What's up, guys? Shane here from the GnG Elite DBS team. Once again, bringing you another deck profile. Today we're going to go over the deck that I am more than likely playing in Atlanta, simply because I've gained so many reps with the deck over the last few weeks, helping all the other guys play test against this deck, that I'm at a point where I feel like this is probably my most comfortable pick, and I might as well just play it. So, this is where the list is at right now. This first card is going to look kind of weird, I know. We're only playing one Borgos. So I'd rather this be a Cronoa, in all honesty, or a Dende, or a Kami, but I like having no less than 28 blue in the deck, so it's a Borgos. And Borgos does kind of help against like other Shenron decks where they can't figure Majesty and untap 2, or they discard an energy, and that can be really relevant. You play against an inexperienced player, and like they say they body change your figure Majesty, and then they go to untap 2, draw a card, alright, now discard an energy. So that could be kind of relevant, but in all honesty, he's just there because we needed one more blue card. And I didn't really want to take out any of the other black cards. Like, you could go to 2-figure Majesty, but I prefer 3. You could cut Demigra, but I'd rather not. So, we're playing 3, striving to be the best Son Goku. In my experience, this card's very necessary to combat the red decks. The vast majority of the people I play with from my scene and people on the team are all playing red decks of some variety. And you struggle really hard against those decks without striving to be the best Goku. Like, just being able to shut down their 1-drop Self-Awakeners, their Yamchas, Zarbons even, the Frieza Chain to some degree, the Ginyu Force guys. This card's very good, and I think it's very much a staple for this deck. We're playing 4 of the 2-drop 20k Vanilla Super Saiyan Son Gokus. This is just our Union target. And there are times where a 2-cost 20k attacker are beneficial to you. So this card definitely gets in here instead of like those 4-drop guys that you're never actually going to play. 4 at all costs, Vegeta. Again, this is kind of just the staple Vegeta for the deck. A win condition in and of itself. It also helps you self-awaken against like Shenron hand control decks. Not self-awaken, my bad. Take your own life. So you can get some more cards in your hand, pop a threat on the field. Like if they go into a 6-drop Broly on turn 3 or 4, and it's sitting there hurting you, at all costs can pop it once you get to 5 energy, so on your turn 4. And against decks that don't really have a big defense, especially in the mid-game, he can just end the game himself. Like, maybe something like Pan, and after you've 1-star balled them and just kind of dirtled them into where they don't really have much going on, at all costs can just end the game. We're playing 2 Ultimate Fusion Gogetas. You're not going to play this card a whole lot, but I definitely don't suggest cutting it from any Gogeta Shenron list. When you're playing against the decks that have the revenge blockers, Android 16 and what's the other one? Yajirobe. This card comes in clutch. You need to be able to get those off the board. Him and Purunga really help you just clear their board of all those revenge blockers. He'll also just get rid of any pesky threats or help you against like the hand control decks to get some cards back in your hand. Of course, the main theme of the deck, Gogeta Hero Revived. I mean, it's the whole point of the deck. Your opponent shuffles their hand, draws 3 cards. He's 30k, Triple Strike, Deflect, Barrier. This card's busted. This card is absolutely insane. Probably be the next card to see the ban list. But until then, we're going to play it. So, 2-time control Cronoa. There's a lot of hype on this Broly Path to Greatness deck, and there's probably going to be a lot of people getting greedy and just trying to play Force Shugesh, especially in those first few rounds. Like, those people might not make it to the top tables in the end of the tournament, but I think there's a good probability of playing against them in those early rounds, as some other players like to call it the jungle. And I think Cronoa is going to help a lot getting through the jungle. So I'm going to play 2 Cronoa, probably. 4 of our super combo. It's super combo, you know, whatever. 2 Newfound Power Purunga. This card is absolutely nuts. It's just one of those things where it kind of reminds me of Tournament of Power, where when they printed the red veggies and you just made the best deck even better. Like, the deck didn't necessarily need this, and it just adds so much power to the deck and versatility. Like, against Swarmy decks, being able to reset the board, or against hand control decks, just draw 2, or basically any deck, just draw 2. Or when you go for the kill turn with Gogeta, you can give him an extra plus 10k if he's still on the board. This card's absolutely nuts. I mean, granted, you do have to wait till you're 4 energy typically to get him out, unless you just hardcast him for 3, but whatever. The card's nuts. 3-figure Majesty. So there is an argument to lower this down to 2 because you're likely to see it with how much you draw in this deck. But there were so many times when I played 2 where I just wouldn't see it in time, and that felt really bad. So I upped it to 3, and it's been super consistent ever since. I like it at 3 personally, especially because you really do need it to kind of end the game efficiently. And if you don't have it, it makes it a lot easier for your opponent to not die. I mean, odds are they'll still die, but they stand a better chance of surviving if you don't have Figure Majesty to give your Gogeta critical. 1 Beyond Darkness Demigra. You don't really need this card per se, but if you have it, like if you just own it, there's not really a good reason not to play it. The vast majority of games, you're not going to play this card. You just don't need it, and it doesn't impact the game enough to warrant losing all your Dragon Balls. But that one game where you need it and you play it and it wins you the game makes it so good. And like I said, probably only going to need it maybe 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 7 games. But it comes in so clutch, and the card is just so powerful and can just completely swing a losing game on its own. There's been a lot of games against like the red decks where they've applied so much pressure that I can't play at all costs or play Gogeta because I'm at 1 life, and I had to go to 1 life. And Demigra helps you bring those games back. Especially like if you Purunga, reset their board, and then play Demigra. Like, card's insane. If you have it, you should play it. 4 Sensu Bean, just to help us defend. We need to be able to defend efficiently against these aggro decks. 3 Mafuba. So, I know a lot of people aren't playing Mafuba in the main, but I do expect a fair amount of the mirror match, and I would like to have a chance to top deck my way into not losing the mirror match. So I'm playing 3 Mafuba. It's also pretty good against some just like random matchups, like the aggro matchups. It can come in useful. I don't know. A lot of the times you'll charge it, but game 1 I just like having it in case to play the mirror match, especially at a big event like a regional. 4 Objection. We're trying to kill you as soon as possible, so we can do all this on turn 4. Objection's a staple in this deck. 5 of the 0-cost Dragon Balls, and 2 of the 1-star balls. So the rationale for the 2 1-star balls is if you're playing a mirror match, it's really hard to get the things you need in the discard pile, like the Figure Majesty, Purunga, etc., etc. 1-star ball allows you to put those cards in the discard pile, while also getting a couple cards out of your opponent's hand, which could come in clutch. So that's the rationale for the 1-star balls. It also does help against matchups like Pan, where that deck can kind of struggle against Shenron if it doesn't draw well, where Pan is such a reactionary deck that since you're not doing anything to it, it's not really doing anything in return, and 1-star ball crippling its hand can be very impactful. Same thing with Janemba. 3 World Peace is going to be the only Desire we're playing. Honestly, you just need it to bring back Purunga and Figure Majesty. Maybe at all costs once in a blue moon, or 5-drop Gogeta once in a while. But it's sometimes I'll hard keep it depending on the matchup, just so I can discard with 1-star ball to get that free value. Sometimes you can't do that, and it's unfortunate, but yeah. So that's the main deck. I've been playing this deck for a few weeks now, just helping everybody in the area. There's a lot of people in my area who travel to events, so I've been helping them all get ready by playtesting against this deck. And I've just got so many reps with this deck now that I think it would be a disservice to myself to play anything but this deck in Atlanta, simply because I'm so comfortable with it. So I did go ahead and build what I think would be my sideboard if Atlanta was tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the sideboard I would probably play if Atlanta was tomorrow. Right here. So we have 3 Courageous Heart Yajirobe. These would be for the mirror match or other OTK style decks. Not really against Broly, because Broly's just going to tap it down unless you can get 2 into play in time. But any OTK deck that's not Broly leader. The 4th Mafuba for these OTK style decks. 1 Dangerous Journey Bulma just to help a little bit in the Janemba matchup. You typically don't need it, but if you don't, like if you aren't ending the game within the clock, she helps buy you a turn, and that could be useful. 2 Dark Power Black Mass Hand. This is just to help those red matchups, so if they chain Zeno you, they're losing 2 cards. It makes the chain Zeno not hurt as much. 3 Dende, New to the Job. This is going to be for the mirror match pretty much to try and slow them down so we can kill them before they kill us. 1 Kami Global Unifier. This is just for maybe you play against veggies and you kind of need it. Ginyu Force maybe. decks that are going to swarm the board real hard. I may try to fit a second one in here. I might just cut the third Cronoa or the fourth Mafuba. I'm not quite sure yet. Probably not Mafuba. Maybe a Yajirobe. Or Crisis Crusher. I don't know. I might put a second Kami in here. The third Cronoa for these Path to Greatness shenanigans decks. Like I said, I think a lot of people in those early rounds are going to get greedy and play 4 Shugesh and hope they get away with it. And last but not least, 3 Crisis Crusher. This just helps against those red decks so they can't crit Trunks you. Or if they're still playing Sankaba, they can't Sankaba you. But he probably won't commit a whole lot, so I might cut him down to 2. But that's the sideboard I would use if Atlanta was today. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I know it's not spicy in the absolute least, but like I said, we're trying to be transparent with you guys about the decks that we would play and are going to play. Like, I don't care if you know what I'm going to play. I don't think that's going to impact a whole lot. I don't like in other games where content creators will lie to you about the viability of decks and strategies to give themselves an edge or to keep things a secret. Like, I'm just at a point, like, whatever. Everyone knows the meta. There's only been a handful of surprises in this game's existence, Hercule being one. Peter Catani almost ruined that surprise also, so, whew. But I'd rather just be completely transparent and just show you guys the decks that are on our plates. So, that's going to be it for me this time, guys. Remember to like the video, comment if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that. Subscribe to the channel. Check out our Twitch every Tuesday from 7 p.m. Central till whenever, where we'll stream like untapped gameplay or things of that nature, deck doctoring, you know, all that stuff. And stay elite.